We're going to break away now and go down to Orlando, Florida. Officers with the Orlando Police Department are giving their first press conference of the evening as they detail what they know right now about the shooting at the Pulse nightclub, a shooting they've called a mass casualty event. Let's listen in. You've been watching live coverage from Orlando. Law enforcement giving a briefing of what they know now of the deadly shooting last night in Orlando at the Pulse nightclub. We learned many things during this press conference, a press conference that included local police, local sheriffs, and the FBI. Among the things we learned, 42 people have gone to the hospital so far. The police confirmed all of those people have gone to the hospital with gunshot wounds. Multiple people, we are told, are dead. Currently, as we speak right now, inside of the Pulse nightclub, the authorities have not been able to retrieve them yet from the nightclub. The estimation by the police officer was that there are 20 dead inside, although, again, that is not confirmed. We were able to get a timeline of events last night, and we'll just recap that quickly for you. At approximately 2:02 in the morning Eastern Time, shooting began at the doorway of the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. There was an officer in uniform stationed at the nightclub who immediately returned fire. There were two other officers who were in the vicinity who joined in the fight and also lobbied fire toward the gunman. And the gunman subsequently went inside the nightclub, holed himself in. It became, as the law enforcement described, a hostage situation at that point, which proceeded until 5 a.m. Eastern Time, at which point police apparently had been in touch with they estimate about 15 people who were holed up in a room inside the club, unbeknownst to the shooter apparently, and they were on the phone with police. And to make sure that those people got out of the club safely, the decision was made to go into the club and execute a rescue. They did so with a Bobcat, a large armored earth-moving device, and they went through a wall to retrieve these individuals. And apparently there was the use of a controlled explosion to stun the gunman inside and to potentially give the invading police an advantage. The police estimate that operation saved about 30 people. 9 officers, we are told, were involved in the ultimate shooting of the gunman. One of them was injured. He has an eye injury, but he's expected to be okay. Police speculate that his Kevlar helmet saved him when a bullet struck him somewhere in the head. Here is what we are told about the shooter. Very quickly, we're told about the shooter that he had an assault rifle, a handgun, and some sort of device on him. The police would not say whether or not it was a bomb. However, there was much speculation that it was some sort of device. There were bomb retrieval devices in the area. We'll have more on this story on News 12 Long Island. Right now, we'll go to a break. Stay with us. As we've been reporting all morning on News 12 Long Island, a shooting in Florida has killed 20 at least and injured 42. Police are having their second press briefing of the morning in Orlando. Let's listen in. You're listening to a press conference being held in and around the Orlando, Florida area. Speaking just a moment ago was Florida Democratic Congressman Alan Grayson, talking about what the local politicians and what local law enforcement, what they know about last night's shooting at an Orlando nightclub. There appears to be more information being given right now. Let's listen to this.
Mayor Buddy Dyer.
Absolutely devastating remarks coming out of Orlando, Florida. Law enforcement officials with their second briefing of the morning, letting us know that the situation from the shooting last night in Orlando, Florida has turned grotesquely worse. 50 people are confirmed dead in the shooting at Pulse nightclub, a leading gay nightclub in the Orlando area. Again, 50 people are confirmed dead in that nightclub shooting last night. Law enforcement officials estimate that 53 have been injured and taken to local hospitals. The number 50 represents a terrible milestone. It represents the worst mass shooting in United States history. At Virginia Tech, it was 32 people who died that day. 32 people died at Virginia Tech. Around 27 died in Sandy Hook. 50 people already confirmed dead at the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando overnight. Again, it has now been confirmed the worst mass shooting in United States history. We'll be back here on News 12 Long Island with more on this breaking story. More now on the breaking news overnight. 50 dead in Florida from a mass shooting at Pulse nightclub. Florida Governor Rick Scott speaking to the media. Let's listen in. You've been listening to a press conference from Orlando, Florida. First, we heard from Governor Rick Scott. That last person we heard from was Orlando Mayor Bud Dyer. Governor Scott said clearly this is an act of terror, this being the shooting last night at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida. 50 people dead, 53 hurt. The worst mass shooting in United States history. Governor Scott went on to say that there is a state of emergency that's been declared in Orange County. He did so that all resources that personnel need in the Orlando area to deal with this situation are available to them at a moment's notice. Governor Scott giving a warning to those who would do this in the future, saying justice in Florida will be swift for anyone thinking of doing something like this again. We heard, he also, by the way, Governor Scott said he would also be at some point meeting with victims' families. Said he would do that at the appropriate time. Governor Scott would not deal with the question right now about what he and his administration could do on a policy level to keep something like this from happening again. Now, we just heard an interesting nugget from the mayor at the end of that press conference, Mayor Bud Dyer. Apparently, he has been in touch with President Barack Obama. He's been in touch with the federal government, and he has asked that HIPAA laws be waived so that medical personnel could more freely communicate information about the wounded and dead who are in their care in local Orlando hospitals. Right now, laws are in place as such that it appears to be putting a roadblock between the doctors and getting that information out to families who are, of course, as you could understand, quite desperate to know the fate of their loved ones. Again, keep it here on News 12 Long Island for more breaking news on the situation in Orlando, Florida, the worst mass shooting in U.S. history.